So good afternoon. First, I would like to welcome all of you today to this presentation, and thank you for your interest in the masters presented and offered by the School of Biology. I am Angela Ciuffi, and I am the director of the School of Biology. And I'm here just to provide you with some general information about the 4 different masters that we offered. And my presentation will be then followed by the presentation of the different master programs by the heads of the corresponding masters. So in this general information that I would like to provide you, I will cover mainly 3 different topics that are described here. First, provide you with a brief introduction on the place of biology at the University of Lausanne. And then I will try to provide you with some rationale of why you should do or you may decide to do a master at the University of Lausanne. And finally, provide you with some general structure that is common between our 4 master programs. So, as you know, the School of Biology is part of the University of Lausanne and belongs to the Faculty of Biology and Medicine. And in that sense, it's quite unique in the Swiss landscape, as it is the only faculty that actually joins biology and medicine together in the same faculty. And it covers many fields and provides many opportunities to really join common topics and interest into these 2 topics. And it will go from ecology, obviously, to cell biology, to molecular biology in both living and post-mortem, this is very difficult to say, systems. So what are the objectives that we expect you to learn as master students? What we want you to learn and to gain is actually a broad knowledge to really understand life in a comprehensive way, from molecules to cells, to organs, to tissues, to organisms, and to ecosystems. We want you to actually learn about research, and this, what it means exactly, what kind of research question, what are the techniques that you need to apply to actually answer your questions, how to really conduct an appropriate research project. And you will do that by being embedded in different research labs to actually accompany you towards your research project. And so by being really incorporated into research projects, into labs, you will actually also acquire team working skills, trying to communicate in English or in different contexts, really get used to this multicultural environment. You will also develop analytical and critical skills that will allow you to really learn not only for an exam, but really learn about your project, about your science. And so gain autonomy and learn independently. So if you're listening to me, is it really because you are interested in doing a master project at the University of Lausanne? So why would you like to do it here at this university? Well, if you want to do a master, this is first because you really want to deepen a knowledge in one specific area, a topic that really passionates you. You want to maybe explore the unknown or with using different techniques or different components that you want to develop. You want to really learn new research techniques that you will apply to your research project, acquire transferable skills, and really, as I said, you will be integrated into different research groups, and so you will integrate into multicultural and internationally recognized research teams. So if you hold a bachelor or soon will obtain your bachelor of science in biology or an equivalent, then you can really enter a master at the University of Lausanne, and we may have a master that is designed for you. So, as I said, we actually offer 4 different programs of masters that are described here. So we have the Molecular Life Science Master Program, the Behavior, Evolution, conservation program, the BEC program, the medical biology master program, and the later ones, the last one in our school, the human taphonomy master program. So you may want to specialize in one of these 4 different programs, and what you could do for that is that you will encounter many different or diverse teachers in our faculty. And as you can see here, our faculty is actually very large. It contains many different departments that are carrying either fundamental biology, as you can see here, mostly in Dorigny, in this site, like computational biology, fundamental macrobiology, ecology and evolution, and so on. And if you want to be more embedded in a clinical research environment, as you can see here, closer to the hospital, you may want to do some oncology research project or join the neuroscience, for instance, clinical department. So we have, again, more than 25 departments and services at the School of Biology and the faculty, with more than 300 professors, and that will provide you with more than 400 topics of research that you can choose from. But you also have the possibility to decide to actually join a master research lab outside of the university. And for this, you just need to find yourself a project outside and apply for it. So we have 4 different master's programs, but that have some similar structures. And they are all being done with 4 different modules that contains either theoretical modules, okay, mostly module 1 and 3, that are in that case more interactive, so they are a little bit less ex cathedra classes. You will have more communicating skills, more reading, more writing, and then you will have 2 different modules that are more practical, so where you will actually develop either a short project, that is usually the module 2 with a first step research project, and a longer research project, which is the one in module 4, which is really your personal research master project. So as I said, there are 4 different masters, but really with some similar structures. They will all last 4 semesters, so 2 years. And as you can see here, so you have the medical biology, the behavior, ecology and conservation master program, the molecular life science, and here the human taphonomy master program. They all last 2 years. They will all allow you to earn 120 credits, and they will all allow you to have these optional or these theoretical classes during module 1 and 3 mostly, and then your personal research project in the lab, which is this module 2 here and the module 4. As you have seen, they have some differences, and this will be explained to you in more details by the different master heads. So after a master, what can you do with it? Okay, because here we are doing our studies, but what is the next step? So with a master in your pocket, you can continue with an academic career, so doing a PhD, the doctoral school. You may decide to have a different training, an additional diploma, either for teaching at the HEP, the Haute École Pédagogique, or doing an additional postgraduate diploma, or you may decide to get another employment, another job, maybe in industry, also as a master graduate. So what do students do after their master degree? What you can see here in this survey that was conducted at the beginning of the year for about 1 month, where we actually collected something like 500 answers that responded to the survey, what you can see is that just after the master, most of the students, 1/3 of the students, continue their academic career. So they are doing like a PhD or doing an additional diploma. 1/3 decided to get engaged and hired for a different job, and about half of it, or the other third, let's say it, is actually continue, either is job hunting or is doing some internship or started to do the military service. And as you can see with years, is that really, after 10 years, everybody is employed and is having a job. So where are they? What kind of language do these students talk once they leave the university? So as you can see here, actually almost 70% of our master students decide to continue staying in the French part of Switzerland. And about one quarter actually decide to move, either staying in Switzerland but going to the German part of Switzerland or to the Italian part of Switzerland, or about 12% decides to go abroad. And again, as you can see here on the right, more than 50% of the students actually continue to practice English during their daily job or speak French or German according to where they are. Important to say that really most of the students that answer this survey answer the fact that their job is actually in line with the training they had chosen to take previously to their current job. So some practical final information, okay? How do you enter this master program, okay? So if you want to enter the 3 programs of the medical biology, behavior ecology and conservation, or the molecular life science, well, with a bachelor degree in biology, you can enter and being admitted without any additional condition. If you want to do the human taphonomy master program, then it's a little bit different. You may enter either with a bachelor in biology or with a human medicine bachelor or a forensic science bachelor, okay? And in addition to that, you have to be sure to have an English certification or language level. You need to show that you have some taphonomic experience, and you may have more details, and you will have more details by the masterhead. And you need a minimum of 40 credits in basic sciences. So if you're coming from biology, this should not be a problem, but you need some like human anatomy or molecular and cellular biology to follow. Then if you are holding a different degree than a bachelor in biology, for instance, or another academic title, you can apply, and your application file will be evaluated and see if you can be admitted with or without additional condition into one of these master programs. So you will obviously find most of this information on our Union webpage at the registration webpage. And really important is really this final enrollment date, which is April 30. So this is maybe the only thing that I would like you to really remind you is this date, April 30th, because this is really the latest time for you to apply to the master program, one of the master program. So again, don't hesitate to visit our website, so unil.ch/École de biologie, and then follow the different master programs. And if you have any question or need any administration information, please contact us by email at the email address that you can see here, biologieétudiant@unil.ch. And finally, I would also like you to remind you about the SOC, the Service Orientation Carrière, or the Career Center resources that again provides additional resources to help you into finding your project or your career project, with, for instance, provide you really with different events, some kinds of coaching sessions to really how to write your resume, what kind of skill training you may add to your CV, to your resume, really offers different tutorials, allow you also to get access to the alumni network. You may know that once you have a graduation, which is either at the bachelor level, you will receive you will be embedded into this network of alumni, and we will be part of it, and we, the alumni, will organize regular events throughout time. And again, you will find more additional information on the School of Biology website. With that, I'm done. We'll have a question session right now. Don't think so. Normally it goes directly to the, okay. So with that, pass the words to Professor Richard Benton, which is the master head of the Master of Science in Molecular Life Sciences. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Angela. So good afternoon, everyone, both the people in the room or those who may be joining from universities outside of Lausanne, or perhaps some of you may be enjoying the nice weather on the beach somewhere. So my name is Richard Benton. I'm a professor at the Center for Integrative Genomics, but I'm speaking here today in my role as the head of the Master of Science in Molecular Life Sciences, or the MLS Master. And because I'm first up as the head, I thought I would just give you a quick perspective, maybe my perspective, but probably shared a little bit with my colleagues as representing your career so far as in the context of the life cycle of my favorite model organism, Drosophila fruit fly. So when you arrive at university, you can see my cursor, we sort of think of you as a little Drosophila embryo. And for the 3 years of your training here, a lot of our job as teachers is to pack you full of information. So you grow and you grow and you grow until you end up graduating with your bachelor degree sort of packed full of new knowledge. But I think the most exciting part is to come, which is what you're contemplating now in starting a master's, which is really the metamorphosis period in your training where you go from simply a student largely accepting information to really transforming that information so to ultimately emerge as a mature professional in the world. So what does that mean concretely? So Angela has already mentioned this. Masters involve much less ex-cathedra teaching, much less of you sitting there and professors speaking at you for hours on end, a lot more interactive classes. Of course, a key part is that you will leave the classroom completely and go into labs and design and perform your own research, not only to learn about the scientific process, but I think you also get to know professors and their lab members as humans, that contrary to popular belief, professors don't just sit in cupboards until they're wheeled out for their lectures, but actually a large part of our job is spent in our labs mentoring students, writing grants, writing papers, discussing, thinking about science. And so far, you've probably only seen one snapshot of our daily lives as professors. And then, of course, there's a lot of soft and sort of related skills in analyzing the literature, scientific writing, giving oral presentations, organizing, prioritizing, and working as teams. So back more concretely to the MLS Masters. So this involves a range of theoretical training. So we're still going to bring you up to the state of the art in many different fields of biology, but now you have a much greater choice to pick and choose those that you really like to get higher education in. This is combined with 2 research projects that I'll come back to in a second, as well as I've already mentioned, with a bunch of transversal skills that are important, whatever your career path beyond your master's. So you may be asking, what are the molecular life sciences? And this is sometimes a question that we ask because it's such a broad topic. And I think this is a feature of the MLS Master, that it's trying to understand biology, life in molecular terms. And of course, this can connect biology at every single level, from structural biology, understanding the organization of macromolecules at the atomic level, through cells, organs, tissues, organisms, all the way up to understand the molecular basis of how individuals interact with each other in populations and communities. So if you're not entirely sure what topic you're interested in, I think the MLS offers the possibility to explore life and molecular mechanisms at all of these levels, and maybe it gives you another time to sort of explore what it would be your true passion in biology. Reflecting this diversity, you'll be exposed to a diversity of model systems in your studies, both the classic laboratory models such as mouse, yeast, fly, and plants, for example, as well as structural biology and a strong degree of in silico modeling. So this also gives you a broad perspective on the tools and model systems we use to address many different topics in biology. The MLS is grounded in basic and some blue sky fundamental research, but for those of you, and I think this will be many of you will be thinking about the future of moving into applied research, biomedical research, or pharmaceutical research. And so there are courses in biotechnology, in genome editing, and the MLS also hosts the iGEM project, which gives you training in synthetic biology. So it is a stepping stone towards more applied research careers. So who does the MLS involve? So this is a map of the campus that I'm sure many of you are familiar with. And the major departments that are involved, so we're now sitting here in the Amphimax building. So the major departments that are involved in proposing courses and offering projects are in the Genopod building, just across the field, which is where my department is, the CIG, as well as the Department of Computational Biology. The Bio4 departments, the Department of Fundamental Microbiology, Plant Molecular Biology, and Ecology and Evolution, also strong contributors to the MLS program. And then if you go back into town, we also have a strong representation from the Institute for Microbiology, IMUL, as well as the Department of Fundamental Neuroscience, and many others. So there's although we categorize the masters in three, there's a lot of fluidity between the contributing labs and contributing departments, both in terms of the coursework and the projects that are offered. In addition to that, and I think this is quite a popular feature now of the masters, is to be able to perform your research, your main master project outside UNIL, whether at the EPFL, at Geneva. Many students opt to go abroad, to have a sort of experience beyond the confines of UNIL, and this is something that we really welcome students to seek out such opportunities. So just to give you a little bit of a flavor of what you will experience during your time in the MLS. So we start with a retreat. So the MLS Masters typically comprises around about 25 students. So this is a fairly small class, which is very nice because it allows us to do activities, in particular to go up into the mountains the first 2 days, where you can learn about a lot of the departments and the courses of the MLS. But perhaps most importantly, you can get to know your peer group. And I think the bonding between the MLS students is a really strong feature, that you can get to know everyone. And this is critical for many of the future courses where you have to work in teams towards common goals. Then, after that little retreat, you come back here, where you are then launched into your common courses. This includes a fairly deep course on data analysis and statistical analysis, as well as a refresher course in R for those of you who need to be brought back up to speed on that. One other very main compulsory course of the MLS is the sequence genome course, the SAGE, which is really a real research project that you perform as a group in sequencing and assembling a new genome. In fact, these days, the course usually involves assembling many genomes, typically of bacterial species. So you will sequence this genome, then you will annotate the gene components of this genome, and then extract new biological insight from that. So this will give you a deep training in genomics and various types of bioinformatics analysis, as well as a lot of teamwork as you work in a group towards answering specific goals through the analysis of this genome. The second set of compulsory common courses in the first semester, or in the first and third semester, in fact, are the Writer Review and Writer Fellowship courses. So the first is a writing course where you work in a group of 2 to 3 students with a dedicated tutor to write an original review article that will get you to synthesize the literature and then compose a new synthetic article that's summarizing the sort of gain of knowledge in recent years and the proposing open directions in the future. And this course is accompanied by a number of tutorials in literature searching, scientific writing, figure preparation, as well as oral presentation. The second half of that, which is in fact performed at the beginning of your second year, so in the third semester, is the Writer Fellowship course, where you will write a personal grant application supervised by a tutor, typically the PI in whose lab you'll be performing your master research project. And this gives you a high-level training in how to write an effective grant application to hypothetically obtain money to fund your research. So to illustrate those courses just with a bit more detail from recent examples, so one of the recent sequence of genome courses was the sequencing of the microbiota from the bumblebee. This is composed of a fairly simple set of microbes And the sequencing and annotation of these microbial species has often led to publication of these genome sequences and analyses. So it's really sort of new research that you're performing in the course of an academic course. Similarly, the Write to Review course also is not simply an academic exercise, and in many cases over the past few years, the review article that students have written as part of their masters with a little bit of polishing has actually ended up being published in peer-reviewed journals. So I think there's actually a nice interest, and I think it's exciting for the students to see their work, see themselves as authors on some of their first papers through this course in the MLS. So in parallel with the common courses, there's a large variety of optional courses in the MLS covering a whole array of topics. You can also take some of the courses that are offered by the Beck Master. And I won't sort of go over every topic here. You can see it sort of covers a whole range of topics in molecular life sciences. What I want to highlight is that many of these courses involve very small group sizes, perhaps 3 or 4 students, and they have very diverse teaching and evaluation methods, from literature reading and analysis, preparing of reports. There are some practical classes, notably in genome editing. And so it's, again, no longer listening to professors lecture at you, but it's very interactive courses that teaches you a lot of associated skills. So now we move on to the research projects during a master's. As you've already learned, there are 2 projects. The first step project, which will be performed in the lab during semester 2, and then your master project, which will be performed during semesters 3 and 4 in a different laboratory from your first step project. And as I mentioned, this could be in Lausanne, elsewhere in Switzerland or abroad, or some students sometimes opt to do a research project in industry. And all of these, or both of these research projects, are assessed on the work you're doing in the lab, as well as oral presentations and oral defense and a written report. So lastly, or nearly lastly, let me give you a couple of words on the specializations. So you can do the MLS and have no specialization. And I think this is a real sort of feature in that you can pick and choose the courses depending on your interests. It gives you the opportunities to do some plant biology, some bioinformatics, some microbiology, some neuroscience. But for those of you who might already have a pretty good idea of sort of their interests, we do offer 2 specializations, one in bioinformatics, led by Sven Bergman, or the responsable is Sven Bergman, and the other is microbiology, where the responsable is Yolanda Scherli. And so just a couple of words on these. So in the bioinformatics specialization, you have to obtain a set number of credits in bioinformatics courses. However, and this will give you high-level training in these topics, as amongst others, but of course you do have the option to get many credits in non-bioinformatics courses. So you're not constrained only to bioinformatics, you can get training in many other areas too. Similarly, for the projects, we offer a sort of an open choice for your first step project. So this allows you to get some experience in the lab, in sort of an experimental project in your first step, and it's only in your master project where we you must do a master's project in a bioinformatics topic, typically that involves development of a significant amount of code. And so you get a little sense of the diversity of topics that have been offered in recent years that have been tagged for the bioinformatics specialization. If you have any further questions about that, I encourage you to contact Sven Bergman at the Department of Computational Biology. A similar sort of rules apply for the microbiology specialization, where you have to obtain a certain number of credits in courses tagged for microbiology topics, but you can obtain additional training or additional credits in non-microbiology courses too, so you're not constrained to only study microbiology. The first step project, again, can be chosen in any field, but then your master project has to be in a topic that's related to microbiology, with the sort of enormous diversity of topics that have been available, illustrated by just a few examples here. So I perhaps don't need to dwell too much on this. The compulsory courses, sequence of genome, write a review, data analysis, run in the first semester at the beginning and the end. The optional courses, module 3, you will obtain the bulk of your credits in the first semester, but in fact you'll have the opportunity to take courses throughout your masters, and this is often allows you to choose optional courses based upon the topic of your first step or your master's course. So you can sort of recognize theoretical gaps in your knowledge and take optional courses that might be relevant to help you better perform your research. Semester 2 is dedicated almost entirely to your first step project. And then the second year begins with the Writer Fellowship course. You're writing the grant application that's related to your master research topic. And then the second or the third and fourth semester, the large fraction of your time is dedicated to working in the lab or in at the computer station, working on your master research project. Okay, so life beyond the MLS, I think it applies probably to all of the masters. Many students choose to continue on in academic research for PhDs. Others switch into academia, into applied research, into pharmaceutical. But I think the MLS provides a great launching pad for a whole range of science and non-science related careers, for example, education, policy, and publishing. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them now. Otherwise, you can find some information on the website or send me an email, and I'll be hanging around at the end if you want to ask one-on-one. Thank you very much.
Right?
Good question.
Question.
Great.
About the specialization,
Yes.
do you have to take it after the master's degree is finished or during the master's?
It's during. So you should, before you start the master's, you can indicate which specialization you're interested in, but you have the opportunity to change once. So many students think they come in saying, I'd like to do bioinformatics. And then as they start, they realize actually they'd rather have a sort of broader education, and they switch to the non-specialization options. So there's it's something that you decide at the beginning, but you have the opportunity to switch if switch once. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. I hand over to number two.
Okay, probably most of you still remember me from the first year zoology and second year evolutionary biology, but if there's some of you who have been here, my name is Kawecki. I'm professor at the Department of Ecology and Evolution, and I've been leading this master since, well, longer than I remember. Right, the sort of themes around which this master revolves consider the relations between organisms and their environment, and the relations between organisms or among organisms, and the role of ecology and evolution in shaping biodiversity, but also how ecology and evolution explain behavior, including human behavior, and what the consequences of this are for conservation of biodiversity. And a particular strong point of our master compared to some other masters of ecology evolution profile in Switzerland, we have offer an opportunity to learn a lot about modern computational approaches that deal with the huge amount of data we obtain, ranging from genome sequences, species distribution, geographic information systems, behavior automatically detected by tracking animals with satellites, from citizen science and so on. So it involves all kinds of computational methods, including machine learning, and we're asking how they can contribute to understanding ecology, evolution, behavior, and how can they contribute to conservation. And this master comes in 4 flavors. So that's the basic non-specialized master in behavior, evolution, and conservation. And then we have 3 specializations, and I'll tell you a bit more about them a bit later in a few minutes. But all these specializations and the non-specialized version follow the same general scheme, which is different from the molecular life science master. Namely, during the first semester, half of the effort is devoted to courses, and the other half is devoted to the first step project. And then the remaining 3 semesters are very flexible, where you decide yourself in discussions with your master project supervisor how you're going to allocate this time between your master project, your courses, and also other things that you do. The major reason why the structure is different is to allow for field-oriented master project. This is one of the special things about this master compared to other biology masters here, that some of the master project involve field work. Again, I'll come back to this. So during this first semester, there are several courses that focus on methodology, scientific writing, data analysis, and molecular methods in ecology and evolution that may differ between specializations, and two conceptual courses whose notion is to bring you up to date, bring all the people coming from the different bachelors to the same level. More than 50% of our students come from outside of UNIL in terms of their bachelor. And then during the remaining 3 semesters, you have a wide range of optional courses to choose from courses that address, probably can have a, no, I cannot have a, I was trying to get a pointer, but this one works. Yes, courses that range from concept-based courses, method courses, computational method courses, courses on applied problems, notably on conservation, and a special course that integrates biologists and geoscientists and many different professors focusing on the mountain ecosystem, which is something special we have here in Switzerland. And this involves also a classroom component and 2 small field courses in the Swiss Alps. And we'll be speaking about the field courses. So this is the mountain ecosystem Swiss field course that takes place in Arola, in Valais. And we have also 2 other field courses on ecology and evolution, Mediterranean flora, and diversity and factors that drive the diversity of invertebrates in altitudinal gradients. It used to be in Ticino, but next year probably is going to be also in Valais. So to talk about the specializations, we have 3 of them, so you don't have to choose a specialization, but you can. And as in the case of NMLS, you should declare this before starting your master. So you are supposed to declare it when you register first for the master, but then you have a chance to rethink before the master starts or when the master starts in September. And if you're really disappointed with the choice you made, there's still a possibility to switch later, but the later you do it, the more difficult it becomes. This specialization in behavior evolution economics is interdisciplinary. It involves teachers not only from biology but also from the economics faculty, and it's motivated by 3 ideas. First, that ecology and economics, they share a number of concepts because they're both about requirements, resources, interactions between entities. Could be organisms, or it could be economical entities, or could be humans acting in economical context. Second, it has been recognized by economists in the last 10, 20 years that, so in behavioral economics, that the economical decisions that we make as humans are affected by our evolutionary past, because our brain is a product of biological evolution. So we are often not behaving rationally, but we are behaving in ways that might have been adaptive in the Stone Age or even before. And thirdly, obviously, economics is a critical factor in resource management and biodiversity conservation. So, if you are in the specialization, you have to take 30 credits in courses that are specifically defined as being part of this interdisciplinary specialization, including behavioral economics and evolution lecture series, microeconomics and game theory, environmental economics, and a course on evolution of cooperation, including cultural evolution, as well as a number of optional courses. Another interdisciplinary specialization within this master is with the Faculty of Geoscience, which links biodiversity with the more or less abiotic environment. In this specialization, there's emphasis on integrating with methods and data from the geoscience. So that includes some courses that are compulsory, like spatial analysis and GIS. This course is also available as optional to other specializations, or soil and water chemistry, or remote sensing, and so on. As well, a bunch of optional courses. The third specialization is within biology. It's also quite unique in that it focuses on computational methods and theoretical approaches. And it has always been a long quantitative tradition in ecology and evolution, also in terms of modeling ecological and evolutionary processes. But now, more recently, we have this accumulation of genomic and environmental and species distribution and so on data. So that requires advanced computational methods and increasingly involves various artificial intelligence approaches. So these specializations give you, in particular, the toolkit to not only to use, but maybe also to contribute to development of these kind of approaches. So obviously here, the courses of this specialization include things like advanced programming, advanced spatial analysis, and then you can choose depending on your interest, because you might be more interested in bioinformatics, working with genomic data, population genetics, or you can be interested more in methods that come from the environmental sciences. Or you might want to do microbiome analysis. So there's a big variety of courses that you can choose in the specialization. One thing about this specialization is that in order to take the specialization, you are expected to have a master project that has a very strong computational component. Okay? So that you not only learn these tools and concepts in a theoretical way, but you actually apply them in your own project, because that's how you learn things best. So, as in the MLS, 50% of the program is your personal research work. And that includes a short project during the first semester, essentially between middle of October and the Christmas break, which you will be doing in a particular research group, and a master project then can be allocated during these remaining 3 semesters. And as I already said, there are many master projects that involve a field component, including not just observation or collecting specimens, but also doing experiments with wild population of plants and animals. But There are also other options doing experiments in the lab, observing behavior of insects in the lab, doing experimental evolution with Drosophila or microbes, or genomic analysis, and so on. And again, the strong computational analytic component is present in many of the master projects, like, for example, this project here on the relationship between evolutionary history and specialization of the clownfish for different sea anemones. You might remember from my zoology course that these clownfish are closely associated with anemones. And another special thing about this master that it offers you is that it offers you the possibility to do your project on a great diversity of organisms, and not just on the several model species that are being traditionally used in the biomedical sciences. So these there are currently ongoing projects or have just been finished last summer on each of those study systems. So as you see, there's quite a bit of diversity. And we also have a number of researchers who are not based at UNIL, but are associated with UNIL, and they also offer master projects, including the Swiss Ornithological Institute in Sempach, in CORA, which is the foundation for study of large predatory mammals, with the Agroscope, where we have a collaboration. We have master projects on practical protection of bees against pathogens, and also works a research group that works with with hatcheries in central Switzerland, studying essentially conservation and ecological aspects of fisheries in Switzerland. So what we want to you to develop during this master is, in addition to specific concepts and methods, is also quantitative skills and critical thinking, planning, synthesis, project management. I mean, this important part of being a master student, and in particular doing master projects, learn how to organize yourself and plan and then present and so say sell yourself and your work to others. So I don't think this is readable. This is from School of Biology, where alumni work. So ranging from many of them go into academia. Some go on to work at schools. We have quite a few people who work in NGOs and in small private companies. In particular, it's not the only career possibility, but we have quite a few of our alumni working in conservation. And just to mention, in this context, those of you who are taking the block on ecology and behavior during this time in the third year of bachelor in Lausanne, you have seen that you have a conservation day next Monday on your program. So this is like a career conservation day where different people come and talk about different companies and NGOs that offer conservation jobs. And two of the presenters are actually our former backmaster students. Okay, so that is all that I have. Just there are any immediate questions I can answer. Otherwise, I'll be here until the end. So if you have more questions. Also, there will be a few students who are currently in the master coming, so you can ask them how it looks from their viewpoint. Okay? Thank you.
I think it's okay. Everybody can hear me. So welcome, dear students. I have a pleasure to introduce the Master of Human Taphonomy, quite young among all the masters of the School of Biology. So for most of you, what is taphonomy? It's a neologism built on the term taphos, meaning burial, and nomos, meaning laws, created in the 1930s by the Russian paleontologist Ivan Efremov. And just to summarize briefly with a picture, the paleontology that everybody knows is the dinosaurs taphonomy. So now I add the adjective human, and it changed everything. This is the science of human body decomposition from death, so the vital function cessation, to remains discovery. So during this program, we will propose a travel among these various ideas, from forensic to humanitarian management to archaeology and history, from stuff really, really dead, as you can see, Neolithic graves, until, let's say, more hot topics, Spanish civil wars. So we're working really on fields on this kind of material, also museum repatriation. So we are approaching all these problematics, and also more modern stuff with the forensic sciences, the humanitarian management, environmental funerary challenges, cemetery pollution, new funerary rites, digital identity. Once you are dead, because it's not a scoop, you are going to die, but really far in the future, I hope. Digital identity, what are you going to do with your Facebook account? And all this stuff, we have to plan our future with these ideas. So we are following three main objectives. The forensic human taphonomy aims at identifying and documenting cause and circumstances of death, especially when you are conceptualizing one individual, okay? And if you are conceptualizing more individual or a group of individual, then you are going to address humanitarian taphonomy. Well, you have to take into account ethical, legal, sociocultural, geopolitical, and historical specificities of each event or each disaster, or each society, depends where it happened. And we are going to have also a big focus on the general societal and human taphonomy, where we've got diverse areas from the traditional archaeology to current environmental and professional challenges. So why to study human taphonomy? We can have this question, because we've got numerous unanswered questions and challenges. Bad decomposition in cemeteries. There's no good decomposition at all. Environmental, professional, ethical, legal concern, new sepulture, cultural challenges. What can we do? What can we show in nowadays in our museums? We've got an unanswered question concerning challenges in environmental biology linked to human beings, not specifically human beings or part of human beings, or body parts, if you want, but also human wastes, human activities, effluent, pollution, the processes to solve these and to address these problems in order to get if we can hope that, really a better world. So we are in the Anthropocene. We are going to face a lot of environmental challenges, recycling, valorization of organic matter. We are going to approach the effluent and wastewater treatment also. The sustainable waste management in the context of production or overproduction. All these we have to address through the Google of human taphonomy. The architecture of study, so really basic, one semester, one module, 30 credits. We've got 4 semester within the program, so 120 credits. The more details in the first module, first semester, we will travel through human anatomy to the 21st century human body. So that means all the equipment we can have on board now, the pacemakers and stimulators, and all these courses are delivered by the specialists of the Ciuffi in neurosurgery and so on. Topic 3, the thanatopraxy, thanatology, and taphonomy. That means all the funerary rites that have been done by humankind from antiquity to nowadays in terms of religion, continents, and so on. Humanitarian management, it is a big topic given by the ICRC, so the International Red Cross experts. Writing skills, then how to write an article, a grant, and how to review those articles and grants too. In the second semester, we take a bit some distance from the human body, and now we are focused on the environment surrounding the human body, the environmental sciences of decomposition, so microbiology, biomolecular analysis, genetics, botany, ecotoxicology, all these really biological subjects. Social sciences, what can we show with the relationship with the social media, how everything is instrumentalized nowadays, talking about human taphonomy, all the politics, ethics, we are of specific courses here. Localization sciences, we use here the remote sensing technology, how to find with the drones clandestine grave, mass grave, how to dig properly according to specific humanitarian protocols, how to document graves and excavation. We've got also archaeology. Forensic biology, we've got forensic entomology, pedology, geology, how this environment is going to be loaded by these remains. During this module, we will also travel to Canada, where at the University of Quebec Trois-Rivières, where they've got a facility where we can properly exhume real human body in real environment. So this is really informative, and here you've got some pictures carried out last year with our student. The third module is about communication psychology skills, so how to, now you've got this background in taphonomy, it's time to discuss, to interact with people, and so on. So it is really important to learn you all the skills, how to do that, from website conception, interviews, media training, and you will receive this type of knowledge, forensic psychiatry, psychology, and also a full immersion at the University Center of Legal Medicine, where you will receive a full package of, let's say, cadaver sciences with the different units of this center. The fourth module is about the master project, so 6 months. And then I hope you had, at the end of this wonderful travel, your diploma. It is a specialized program. That means that we've got 2/3 of lectures and interactive seminars and 1/3 of practical works and demonstration. Numerous visits, cemeteries, museums, waste processing plants, industries, gardens, forensic centers, and so on. Teaching by international experts from academic or private partners, US, UK, Australia, you will have plenty of different teachers to interact with. This is a specialized program, so it is really limited to 24 students per year. You've got the uni registration deadlines. The C1 English level is mandatory because everything is delivered in English. You can join us with a bachelor in biology, forensic sciences, medicine, or equivalent. Equivalent because according to your background or your past experience in taphonomy, it could be taken into account in our evaluation. You need also a proof of taphonomic experience. Mainly, it's an evaluation of your psychological compatibility because you have well understood that we are going to do let's say, not conventional stuff. So it is important to be sure that everything is aligned according to our criteria. So, for example, if you follow in the bachelor in biology, you've got an option, human anatomy. For us, it's a real plus to understand that, okay, you are equipped for this program. And you need valid travel document to go to Canada, for sure. Career opportunities. This program serves as a foundation for potential careers. The list is really not exhaustive. Academic research and teaching, hospital, funeral cares, forensic environment, museum, cultural sectors, police and security forces, environmental industries, biotechnology sectors, NGOs, public services, and so on. Really, it's really diverse and really open in terms of possibilities. And just to help you to envision your future, I can briefly present some subject of our current master students. We've got two Indiana Jones, Anna and Chloe, working in archaeology field on the biggest archaeological field in Switzerland here, the Pré de Vidi. It's a Roman necropolis with the society Archaeodunum. We've got Chloe working in she's investigating the ecology of 4 cemeteries in the canton of Genève with the ecology and environmental genetics. Mainly this is because we know that we are going to face some problems with cemeteries really soon, and some cities are anticipating on this subject, and they would like to know a bit more what is the biological dynamics of their cemeteries to imagine another more greener landscape, okay, to develop these thoughts about this subject. We've got Thomas working on biosociology. He's going to lead the first bioanthropological survey about human biocomposting in Switzerland with the Haute École de Travail Social et de Santé and the relationships with the biological mechanism under these subjects. Clément working on the embalming fluids' influence on decomposition. Once again, we know that these fluids can introduce big biases in the decomposition, and he's working with the Centre Ecotox at the PFL and the first company in the topic, the company Dodge. So it was just to give you some ideas where we can go. So here you've got my details, and if you know more about that, and if you've got a question, I will be also here until the end of this afternoon.
Good afternoon. My name is Sanjiv and I'm at the Department of Immunobiology. So that's on the next slide here. And I co-direct this master together with Marie-Christine Broyer, who is professor at the Department of Biomedical Sciences. And so I'm going to explain to you what we're doing in the medical biology master here in Lausanne and why you may be interested in choosing this master. So this master is really good if you're fascinated about how the human body works and how you can repair it if it doesn't work anymore, which is unfortunately a frequent problem. So statistics say that 95% of the world's population has health problems. Some have really more, especially at older age, obviously. And so I think we're facing a lot of problems in that regard. So there's a big need to improve our diagnostics for the various diseases, obviously for the treatment, and more we are also gearing towards disease prevention and what we can do to get at that. So what we like in research, if we're really taking a problem from the clinic, we're assessing the mechanism of that problem, hopefully in an animal model, and identify molecules that we can then bring back to the clinic and test whether they also work in humans. And so this is really a bit the motto or the theme of our master, that we're trying to combine both animal models as well as translational research and show you how important it is to have this back and forth between these two areas to really understand disease that is coming with the symptoms that an organism has when he's sick, understand what is going wrong at the organ level, at the cellular level, and most importantly then also at the molecular level, because it's usually the molecules that we're targeting in order to actually improve the cause or prevent the cause or remove the cause that is there. So to have a therapy or later on possibly also preventive strategies. Our competencies at the University of Lausanne are very large because we have more than 100 labs that really work in these different areas. So that encompass all the topics that you're seeing here: immunology, cancer, microbiology, metabolic disorders, cardiovascular disorders, neurosciences, and pharmacology and toxicology. And these are all topics that we are covering in this master. So we have moved to a 4-semester master. We are just running now in the 2nd semester of the 1st edition of this 4-semester master. And you see now the structure shown here. It has been indicated before. So the 1st semester is characterized first by a course block where we're training you in various different topics. I'll come back to. Then you have the first step project, like an 8-week project, followed again by a course block. Now, each course block is evaluated right at the end of it, so either in October or in January. So it's really close to the courses and you should be able to remember them very well that way. The 2nd semester is again a similar organization. You have common courses, so for the whole class. And then it's followed by a track. So this is a kind of a specialization. There are 4 different tracks you can choose from, and I'll come back to those. They are 9 weeks long, and then it's followed again by common courses for the whole class. Finally, we have a summer break, so we didn't have that before, so that's a big new change that the students obviously appreciate. And then we have the semesters 3 and 4 entirely dedicated to the master project, where you're spending 8 to 9 months in a lab. It actually starts with a grant exercise, and it will also include poster and career day, and I'll come back to that as well. So I walk you through the different program for the 1st semester. So the first course block are some more general topics. It's a bit to bring you up to speed. So I have to say our classes are 60 to 90 students. A lot come not from Lausanne, so it's very heterogeneous. So we need to bring everybody up to speed. And so we are doing some more basic coursework to remind you of the key concepts in these different topics, and also go obviously further than what you have probably seen during the bachelor, at least at the University of Lausanne. So please remember, if you haven't seen some of these topics and you're interested in this master, really see that you're up to speed, because we're doing a continuous assessment already in mid-October. For those that have seen these topics already at the bachelor level, this is quite an easy exam, but of course you still need to remember what you had seen maybe a year ago or 2 years ago. And if you haven't seen these topics before, we're giving you some ideas of where you can catch up a bit to have the basic concepts, and we're going through them obviously during these courses. But the first 4 weeks or 3 weeks are quite tight with the courses, and we give you 1 week to prepare for this continuous assessment. So please really think, well, are you up to speed with these topics or not? And should you invest a little bit of time before the start of this master? We also start doing skill development. So you have heard quite a bit from the other speakers before, whether it's preparing a poster, a talk, a report, an article. And so that's part of the courses as well. So we guide you step by step really in this process. So a few words to the first step project. Obviously, this is for some of you the first time that you're doing a research project and that you're in the lab. So it's really a brief project. You're 6 weeks at the bench typically, and then you have time to write up your work and to defend it. And so you see the whole process of discovery really there. And I hope you get really infected with the virus of like the passion for research. You have really a vast choice of labs to join. So we typically have 90 to 100 projects that are proposed that you can choose from, and they cover really a broad range of different biomedical topics. This is both for the smaller project, what we call first step project, or the longer project, the master thesis projects. And so many different departments participate in that, and that's also shown here with the various departments and sites that are participating in this with these projects. Several of them are at the Ciuffi campus, so close to really where the clinic is. So no more many labs in here. Most have moved either into the Agora Translational Cancer Center or are in the fundamental neurosciences, the physiology, metabolism, that is part of the biomedical sciences department, as is the former pharmacology, toxicology. So they were reunited, and they're all at the Bugnon, so next to the hospital, the main hospital in Lausanne. Now, there are 3 other sites involved. Down here in Dorigny, the CIG has a few projects proposed. Then in Séry, we have the Center of Psychiatric Neurosciences and a larger Center for Immunity, Infection and Cancer Biology up in Épelange, that is also called the CIL. So back to the first semester. So we end the first semester with another course block. There we are going more into disease-relevant topics and into topics where you can actually specialize in later on. So that has cardiovascular biology, metabolism, neurosciences, cancer, and pharmacology and toxicology. So these are the topics that will prepare you for the track that will be then in the second semester. Now, in January, we have written and oral exams that are dedicated to really these topics that you have just heard a few weeks earlier. Then I come to the second semester. So again, a similar start with common courses before we go into the tracks, and also some optional courses that you can decide to take or not. So the tracks are the 4 that are indicated here: immunology and cancer, metabolism and human health, neurosciences, or pharmacology and toxicology. So you have to choose one of the 4 that you'd like to specialize in. This is just 9 weeks, and it doesn't necessarily need to fit really the master thesis project that you're doing. So you have really flexibility in what you would like to combine and where your passion is. So a few words to the common courses. So we are doing a little bit in our programming. We will do some more advanced biostatistics training with you, because you will need that for your master thesis as well. We started doing now some machine learning and AI lectures, because I think this domain or this area is going to expand quite quickly. We're doing a lot of genomics, proteomics, etc., along with how to use all these data that are now in the internet, the databases. How do I retrieve information about a given gene? How does that change my protein? And how does that change then a certain biological process? So that's what you're learning with these new courses that we set up, because I think you need to be fit for the biology of today. What is also important that you understand clinical medicine. And we want you to engage with medical doctors and really see what their concern is when they're seeing patients, and how they would like to improve biomedical research. And so we have a larger section where you interact with these people mostly from the Ciuffi or related to it. Among the optional courses is animal experimentation course. So one needs a training for that, and I'll come back to that, as well as an optional course in regenerative medicine. So this is about stem cells, bioengineering, etc. So this is also offered, and you can choose or not to take it. So a few words to the introduction to clinical medicine. So one part is really classes where you're going to meet up with several medical doctors that tell you their lessons from the clinics, and some biologists that are also involved in this more translational research will come with examples from the clinic. On the other hand, you have what we call the clinical research module. So this is really an e-learning course, 20 hours, where you're getting the fundamentals in clinical research aspects that are key for it. You need a very good study design before you're allowed to get access to any human tissues or samples. You need patient consent, you need ethical approvals, you need to know about the Swiss regulations and safety regulations for that kind of research. At the end of this course, you will have an examination. If you pass, you will get a certificate that is valid, I think, Europe-wide in good clinical practice. I think is a good addition to your CV. Another interesting course that we're offering that is optional is optional for those that, or it's actually restricted to those that do a master project that requires animal experimentation. To do that master project, not for the first step project, for the master project, if that's a key part, you need to take that course. So this is something you have to count in, whether you want to do that or not, to work with the animals. This is 20 hours of theory via e-learning and 20 hours of practical training with the animals. So this is something you get very much used to deal with animals, to give them a vaccination or to draw blood from them and do animal work. So they are used to beginners, and so you shouldn't be afraid to take that course. Again, this gives you a federal accreditation, so really a thing that everybody who does animal experimentation in Switzerland needs. This is the module 1 of from the Swiss Federal Veterinary Office. So it's really, again, something that is really good to have on your CV if you want to go into biomedical research. So now a few words on the 4 tracks that we have. And here you see the different track directors that are managing these 9-week course that actually just started this week. So immunology and cancer track as a first example, as the name says, it's on the one hand dealing with really what the immune system is fighting, like the dangers from the outside, infections of various sorts, allergies that are just starting now in this season, asthma, or the dangers from inside that can really come in all kinds of different tissues, whether it's rheumatoid arthritis like here, or cancer that can also arise anywhere. So this track really tries to combine the immunology field with the cancer field and also show the interface between the two. So it's highly disease relevant and strong need still for new vaccines and therapies for various kinds of diseases, whether it's autoimmune or cancer or infections. So we will cover advanced concepts in these topics, immune pathologies, treatments, drug development, etc. And it's also quite strong in practical work with different topics, whether it's going from genomics to proteomics and in vitro assays, as well as tissue analysis and advanced flow cytometry, doing 5-6 different colors analysis on these cells. Come to the pharmacology and toxicology track. As the name says, it's about, on the one hand, about drugs, the other hand, about toxicants. So drugs that are affecting kids, the Ritalin, for example, or drugs that are affecting more mid-range people or all the stress managers, etc. And obviously the old people that are taking a lot of drugs and have different needs, obviously, at that age. On the other hand, you have the toxicants that are a topic that is obviously very topical at the moment, or it will stay, because we are having problems with our environment that are impacting our human health. So this is the list of different topics that will be covered. So going from pharmacogenetics and pharmacokinetics to the drug discovery process, you will learn about pharmacology that are affecting mainly the nerves or the endocrine system or cardiovascular system. So the principles of chemotherapy, like in cancer, or infectious diseases. The toxicology will cover drug toxicity as well as food toxicity and environmental toxicity. You will then really go into case studies where you will look into detail into some of these processes that can be problem-based learning as well as e-learning. It also implies, sorry, that was not what I wanted. Site visits, so either for the toxicology aspect of it, like the waste recycling plant here in Lausanne, or visiting industry research centers, and you have several examples of what they visited in the recent past. Move now to the neuroscience track. So that one is, again, a very wide field, as there are many different labs here in Lausanne doing neurosciences that go from macroscopic neurobiology to cellular neurobiology and molecular neurobiology. So it really spans a big range of things from health to disease, and different techniques of how you monitor neuronal activity that will be covered in this course. So here you have some of the chapters of what will be covered, more technical aspects of neuroscience, brain development, sensory neurons, glial cells, synaptic transmission, CNS death and repair, or psychiatric issues will be covered in this course. So again, they have problem-based learning, they have journal club presentation, practical work, including looking at the real human brain, so dissection of that and analysis of that. There will be also industry visits or NGO visits as part of this master. Finally, the fourth master program, Metabolism and Human Health track. So this is really at the interface of metabolism is playing a role in each cell at every moment, and it will be combined with microbiota and nutrition, because all of them really play together when you're thinking about metabolism. So the teaching content is the following. So it's about metabolism during normal physiological situation. How does nutrition, lifestyle, or aging affect it? What is if we have a metabolic imbalance, like in diabetes, obesity, cancer, or cardiac diseases? And for that, it's important to understand our microbiome. So the best known is obviously the one in the gut. That has a very large impact on our metabolites we have and how healthy we are. So there will be metabolomics and proteomics as part of that. Prevention and management of metabolic diseases will be dealt with, as well as some case studies and practical work is indicated here. They also have a part on career development and networking, and they also visit typically 1 or 2 places during that master. So I come back to the 3rd and 4th semester, where the master project is really the topic for both semesters, starting with write a grant, because and that will be on your master project, so it already helps you to get into the topic and be familiar with it, and really learn why it is important to think well ahead, to know the literature before you actually go to the bench and do the experiments. You will then probably enjoy presenting your work at the poster day, when everybody comes together again, and we usually have it combined with the career day. That helps you in CV writing and getting ready for job hunting. So that will be in the 4th semester then. So we hope that you will have a lot of fun and see that science is cool. You have really plenty of time to develop it, and you heard about the research skills, many that you will develop really in the process of these months at the bench, or analyzing your data and presenting your data. So these are some images from the poster day. We also integrate now the visit at the Biopole Discovery Day and the Lausanne Life Science Day, where you can really meet up with companies and see what the options are for your future. So our main goals are to give you really a multidisciplinary teaching, many skills in basic and translational research, and a competitive training that should prepare you well for all the jobs you heard about. Obviously, a lot of biomedical options that are there, and there's a lot of industry here in the region that may want to hire you. So if you want to know more, please go to the website. We also have a Zoom presentation on the 23rd of March, where the track directors will present more of what the tracks are about. And if you have questions, don't hesitate to write us or to ask questions right now or just afterwards. We'll stay also here, and Marie-Christine Breuer is also here to answer questions, as well as some students, I believe, that have just come. Okay, thank you very much. If there are no questions right now.